I wish Toby Young was an irrelevance, but sadly that's not the case. This isn't hysteria. This is simply people objecting to a man with no relevant experience whatsoever who has made a series of sexist and homophobic comments.
The point that Dr. Williams made is that actually you need people with different levels of experience on these kind of boards. And actually somebody with primary school experience might be quite a useful person to look at. Why some children in primary schools then don't make it to university, for example. He does have some experience.
I think you can find somebody with relevant experience who has not been appointed because he's a Conservative pundit who happens to be on first-name terms with members of the Conservative cabinet, who has a history of making sexist and homophobic comments, as well as, I'd say, very disturbing comments about eugenics and about disabled children who... No, come on.
I was going to say to you, Owen,
who he described as troglodytes, as illiterate troglodytes with the mental age of 8. That is not somebody who is suitable. And as I've said, look, Boris Johnson, the Foreign Secretary today, said it's caustic humour to use homophobic and sexist and demeaning comments about women and gay people.
He himself has described it, Toby Young himself, as sophomoric and politically incorrect, and has deleted some 8,500 tweets. But I just want to ask one thing to Owen. You may not agree, and I may not agree with lots of the things that he said, but should having politically incorrect views preclude somebody from having a role in public office? He's not an MP, he's not a religious leader. If somebody may have experience in a pertinent sector, should the fact that they may be racist or may be sexist, and I'm not saying that Toby Jones is either of those things, but his tweets stand up for themselves, don't they? But why should that preclude him doing the job? Because it seems to me that your annoyance appears to be more that he is, as you describe, a Conservative pundit.
Sorry, you're describing people using terms like penis breath as a homophobic insult, and people who said about anally penetrating women, about describing a gay celebrity who spoke to a straight man that he wanted to, and I quote, bum him. And you're saying that these are just political views to disagree with.
No,
They're not political views.
And I'm not defending anything at all he said. What I'm saying is, because somebody has expressed some opinions which other people, find reprehensible, does this preclude him from public office?
Sorry, can I just answer your question? The point I'm saying is that you're saying this is just this is a view. It's not a view. You're saying that homophobia and sexism just happens to be a point of opinion which we just can disagree with or agree with, as though it's I don't know, should we tax the rich more or should we nationalise the railways? They're political views. We may have disagreements. Me and Toby Young happen to have very strong disagreements on all those topics. I know that because I've debated him in this very studio. But that's a separate issue for making comments repeatedly, leering comments about women's breasts, making homophobic comments, and talking about disabled children as illiterate troglodytes with the mental age of 8. And the point is, he's only been appointed because he's a Conservative pundit who happens to be well connected with Conservative ministers. It's nepotism, and it shows the ugly heart of the Conservative Party.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.